Welcome to this week's episode of the SBC podcast. Today, we have with us Phillipa Greenberg, CEO of Next Machine. Today, we will discuss some aspects of supercomputing, high-performance computing, and its relevance to business and possibly other related topics. Phillipa, welcome to the show.
Hi, Rashid. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, Phillipa, tell us about Next Machine and its purpose and its mission, maybe how it came to be.
Yeah, so the genesis of Next Machine, what we do is we want to bring high cluster computation to the market with supercomputers. So what we've done is we've married the back-end infrastructure of supercomputing, and we've married that with the front-end predictive analytics platform to answer specific questions and answer business needs for Fortune 200 companies that have massive amounts of data sets. So we're empowering the corporations and also empowering the next generation of data scientists and software developers and engineers in our local communities. So our mission is to answer difficult questions with a lot of data and being able to provide the supercomputing engine to drive the data forward.
Right. So, Phillipa, what are some of the benefits of relying on technology as opposed to people?
Well, technology is great with the human critical thought. I know sometimes with all of the buzzwords in the industry with utilizing AI and machine learning, I always tell people that you need the human critical thought, and it's an iterative process. So technology is only as good as the user. And so there's a lot of great technologies out there, the cloud for storage purposes and also supercomputing. And that's what we're really bringing to the market. And we look forward to that and bringing the relevance of supercomputers as the world amasses more data to answer tough questions with a lot of data in the world.
Right. So what are some of the uses that, let's say, okay, business, I know you mentioned like bigger businesses. Does that mean like it's exclusively, this is more of benefit to bigger businesses only, or is it useful to other types of businesses? Or?
So we started out originally focusing on Fortune 200 companies or companies with massive amounts of databases.
Right.
But I didn't want to close off to the small businesses and medium-sized businesses. I wanted to be inclusive to all and to all industries as well. In an effort to do that, we created custom supercomputers that cater to small businesses, medium-sized and large corporations. So what the supercomputers do is they really provide an engine to optimize the curation and maintenance and network speeds that we can transfer data within a company and their different functional groups at a quicker rate, at a fixed price, which is pretty unique in the industry. So that's the kind of the uniqueness of Next Machine.
So without getting too much into the technical aspect that maybe it's difficult to keep up with, what's a typical project? What's a typical build? Like, what do you do? Do you put a bunch of computers together? What is it?
So the way we operate is I'll give a good real use case with pharma. Big pharma. A lot of pharma would like to know if they can predict what biologics will become blockbusters, or for specific cancer pharma companies, they want to figure out which of their therapies will stack against the current market and their competitors.
Right.
And that's really the predictive layer. And we hear about predictive analytics in the market today. And that's really the way to predict and get a higher prediction rate against your question. And the solution space is really going back to how well you can cleanse the data, the machine learning processes that you take with the data, and then also how fast you can transmit the data. And that all comes, you can do that with cloud-based solutions, but when you hit a critical mass threshold with the data, the amount of data, and you need to pass the data at higher velocity, you're really relying on a more robust engine. And that's really where the benefit of having a supercomputer comes into place. So with pharmaceutical data, you have discovery data, you have commercial data, and you have regulatory data. And to be able to pull all of those disparate data sets into a centralized portal and derive analytics from that central source of truth is a huge benefit. And that's what that's the goal of what we do.
Yeah. Well, you touched on a lot of great things there, because it's like, we all know the importance of data, because you have to be compliant with certain things, and then that's one side of it, and then you want it for marketing purposes, and that's another. And what I'm hearing you say is that you pretty much you can do any one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So the benefit is, or the difference between actually having an on-site kind of system and then the cloud is the speed and access.
Yeah, the velocity of the data and also the storage pricing capabilities. So a lot of times people that have massive amounts of data are paying exorbitant monthly fees on the cloud. The alternative is to be able to create a privatized cloud and or have a supercomputer that can really truly provide scalable storage at a fixed price. And that's what we really wanted to give back to companies, is to own their own data and to be able to have a high quality of their own data and then be able to derive actionable insights from their data on demand.
Right.
So that was the hope.
And how has the journey been so far?
The journey of 8 months. We started about 8 months ago, and we've accelerated the process, and we've met incredible people in the community and in the nation and formed incredible partnerships. The journey has opened my eyes, and I think my team's eyes as well, to a whole different type of and quality of people as well. So it's been an incredible journey.
Right. How did you all come together?
Oh my gosh. We had all known of each other within the industry. And my chief finance officer, I'm a cyclist at heart and an athlete, and I met him through the cycling community. So he was one of the people that I didn't even have to give a second thought to. I knew I wanted him to be part of the team. And then throughout my network of working in the pharmaceutical industry, I just met some incredible people that would be such a value add to the company with different insights and perspectives. And that's how the team kind of evolved together.
Awesome. So do you compete as a cyclist?
I did. I went semi-pro for a year, and I had a great time. But at the end of the day, I wanted my career.
Yeah. No. Awesome. Well, I have to ask this because, obviously, I think we talked about it a little bit early on. But, obviously, it's good to see that more women are getting into technology. But what has been your experience? As a woman being in technology.
Sure. I'm a huge advocate for women in tech, the STEAM and the STEM, to empower the next generation. But the women in technology movement is something that's extremely close to my heart. There's not enough women in technology. I was able to speak on the Wonder Woman Tech Forum up in Washington, D.C.
Awesome.
at the end of January.
Yeah.
Thank you. And what I've seen is that more women are getting involved, especially in sort of, I guess, the more male-dominated facets of tech, of the tech world, whether that's coding, software engineering, programming. So there's definitely an influx of initiatives moving forward, and anything that I can do to support that, my whole leadership team is on board with that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
But we've been in this community, we've been soaked up by all the organizations locally. So we've been very lucky.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Ride the wave.
I know. We had to.
Phillipa, what are some possible misconceptions about the industry or what you do, like supercomputing or anything like that?
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
I think from our cloud-based
because we'd like to dispel some of those sometimes.
Definitely. With supercomputing, it's sort of where the cloud was back in 2012.
Yeah.
It's an esoteric solution. I think it's difficult for the layman out there to understand because there's so much technicality with it. And it also doesn't have a huge track record. You really see supercomputing in large organizations, global NGOs utilizing it today. And so I think the biggest misconception with supercomputing is the pricing question. The supercomputing companies that are out there are extremely expensive. So a lot of companies, when you pose the questions of revamping infrastructure or bringing the infrastructure back to the home base of a company, they are a little bit gun shy to discuss it because of the costs. But when you give them the cost analysis of different solutions against supercomputing, you really see the value differentiator from the long-term standpoint.
Right. So when you say the big boys in your industry, are they the IBMs of the world? Or is
the
it
IBMs and the Microsoft and the Amazons. Our biggest competitor, I would say, is Cray Supercomputers. I believe they have the fastest supercomputer to date, named Jaguar.
Wow.
So it's pretty incredible to see in person. It's housed in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But what's always great is that to be able to have an open forum with them and to talk with them and really kind of learn what their roadmap was to get where they are today. And, if you ask a lot of questions, they want to tell you about what they do and
Right.
and their pinch points as well. So we've had great dialogue with our own competitors.
Yeah, awesome. What are some tips or I guess advice for maybe people of all kinds of types or sizes of business on how they can capitalize on supercomputing and its benefits?
I would
can leverage it.
Yeah, I would say as we continue to increase how long we're on this planet, I mean, everything today is a data point, from our emotions, that's a data point capture. And I would say that as we keep amassing more and more data, we're going to have to figure out more efficiencies with how we handle it and how we answer questions and how we derive at actionable insights to really drive pipelines in any industry and drive solutions forward and advancements.
Right.
And I would say that technology has incredible, tremendous capabilities to provide that advancement, but we also have to be careful about the downstream effects that it has, and the ramifications of misusing it.
Right.
And I think that supercomputing, if utilized the correct way, has a huge advantage, but we're still, our biggest obstacle, and I'm always transparent about it, is we're still educating the market. So, we still have to continue to let people know that it's out there and the use cases to optimize data transfer and data usage. Yeah. But that, I would say that's the best way to hear about it and to find more about it. Be inquisitive.
No, that's great. Are there any things you want, other things you want probably people to know about you, your company, or any things that maybe we should talk about that haven't come up yet?
Let's see. This
is we're still getting into trouble. No, just kidding.
No, you can follow us. We're very active on social media with our Twitter account and also on Facebook and our LinkedIn. But it's not NEXT, it's nxtmachine.com. And follow us, and we'll have blogs and updates, and you can follow the journey into the tech world of supercomputing and also our journey as a tech startup. So we'd welcome that.
Yeah, awesome. And also we were going to put these, whatever you want to share in form of contacts or anything like that. We're going to put those in the footnotes of the show.
Awesome.
And if you didn't have any, other calls to action or anything, you're good?
I'm good. If you have any questions, feel free to call us.
This has been awesome. We're up, with time, but just want to make sure. So this, this pretty much concludes this episode. It has been a pleasure, Phillipa. Awesome. We're probably going to do this again.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you, Randy. Thank you for allowing Next Machine into your studio.
Yeah, awesome. It's a pleasure. So listeners, this concludes the podcast, and then be on the lookout for future ones, and then you can always listen to previous ones on iTunes or on our blog at sbchecks.com. Thank you.
Bye.